Why is it some people are able to get it right away and others continue seeking and seeking? They want the answers, but they can't seem to get at the focus of it. I have friends who keep asking and somehow the answers are evading them.
When you ask from a place of lack, the lack keeps you confused and unable to hear. In other words, most prayers are not answered because most prayers are asked from a place of lack. You see, everything that we're talking about here is the same thing, isn't it? You're not making enough of the jump. You're letting the contrast of the universe show you what you don't want. And you're letting the contrast of the universe sometimes help you identify what you do want. But you're not carrying it far enough to vibrate with what you do want. When you start vibrating with what you do want, the answers always come. In other words, in order for you to hear an answer, you must be vibrating in the energy where the answer is. So when you ask questions like, what's wrong with me? Or why can't I get it right? Or why won't more money come to me? Or why can't I get better? Those lackful questions will not allow the answer, because the answer is not contained within lack. This is good. This will help you see this more clearly. The whole thing boils down to living in a physical environment where you've come to believe that it is your action that makes things happen. And we can't deny it. We see you move things from place to place. In other words, we can see that if Jerry wanted this to be over there, that the actual motion of it over there, no one can deny that action does have some benefit. You see it happening all around you. And so if you are playing on a playing field where only action is happening, then the bigger you are, the more effective you could be. In other words, in a disconnected playing field, a bigger army will whip a smaller army. Somebody with more money will have more influence than somebody with less money. In other words, if you're playing on a playing field where everybody playing there is disconnected, then the more you've got of whatever it is, even if it's negative, then the more action you will be able to produce. But when you realize that that is a mundane playing field, not the playing field that you have intended to come and play on, that you are a creator, you are orchestrator of worlds. When you come to understand that when you are connected to the non-physical energy and you are talking about what you want and flowing energy toward it, that you are thousands upon thousands of times more productive than one who is banging around in a physical sense, then you realize the effectiveness, the ratio of what a connected person could do versus a disconnected. And so these people that you are talking about, the reason they're having a hard time getting it is because they're still evaluating what's happening down there on that physical playing field with a lot of disconnected things going on, where they see people actually getting money even though they're doing immoral things, or actually prospering even though they are not nice to people. And so as they see things happening that do not seem to be fair, then they do not trust the greater law, but it is because they have not allowed themselves to feel the greater law flowing through them. Once you've had an opportunity to test energy flow, in other words, get really positive about something and flow some energy toward it and watch what happens. And then get really negative about something and flow some energy toward it and watch what happens, till you've convinced yourself that it's about your energy flow and nothing else. This whole thing really is something that must be self-taught. And that is the reason that we are exhilarated when a small gathering of physical beings comes together, because we can feel the intensity of your wanting. In other words, we know when you want like this, that you're going to hear answers. When you sort of want, you sort of find answers. When you don't really want, you don't really find answers. But when you really, really want, that's when you start finding answers. And we don't know anything that brings any of you to a place of really, really wanting faster than to live something you really, really don't want. When you don't understand about energy flow, so you don't catch it in the early subtle stages as we were talking earlier, don't worry, it won't go away. It will get bigger. And if you still don't notice it, don't worry, it won't go away. It will get bigger until before long it will get big enough that you will be at a place of saying, I don't want any more of this. And then if you are wise enough to say, well, what is it I do want? With the benefit of teachers like you, then things begin to click into place.